not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to Let's Talk Hormones with Carolyn Zallmeyer. Take some time with me this evening to learn how to age healthier and live happier. Today we'll be discussing how hormones can affect all aspects of your health and well-being. I've been specializing in women's health and hormones for over 28 years and focusing in on bioidentical hormone therapy for both men and women for the past several years. We talk hormones. We don't talk sex. We talk health, aging, wellness, and relationships. And well, maybe a little bit of sex. So let's get this party started. Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Hormones with Carolyn Zallmeyer. Me, bioidentical hormone expert. We're live streaming on Facebook on the Low TE Florida page, live on 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, and here in South Florida, and also on the iHeartMedia app found under WNN 1470. During the next 30 minutes, if you have any questions for me or my guest, you can call in to 1-888-565-1470. We'd love to hear from you. During the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about all things hormones and intimacy and relationships, and it's all going to be great.
Yeah.
This evening, I've got with me today Dr. Eva Brown, and she's an intimacy and relationship expert, and she has a practice in Fort Lauderdale. And I had the pleasure of meeting Eva years ago. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, maybe even longer, but yeah.
It was at Suit Stilettos lipstick, remember? At the Ritz?
Remember.
Yeah. And Eva and I instantly hit it off. We got along very, very well, and just kind of found that we had kind of like a common interest. And what I've enjoyed watching over the years is that she's very like-minded like me, and her passion is actually helping her patients. So we're going to be going over what she does with her practice. I'm affiliated with BioT Medical out of Texas. I've studied under Dr. Gary Donovitz, founder and CEO of BioT Medical. And if you'd like to receive a free copy of his book, Age Healthier and Live Happier, Avoiding Over-Medication Through Natural Hormone Balance, we'd be happy to send it to you. Just go to our website, lowteflorida.com, scroll down on the homepage, and you'll find a little request form. Fill that out, and we'd be happy to send you the free book. It's a great read. He writes in an easy-to-understand way, explaining what we do as BioT providers and why we do it and how we can help you age healthier and live happier. With the BioT method, we utilize a pellet therapy to optimize one's hormones, leading to better energy, mood, sex drive, better sleep, and joint pain. I'm currently the #1 BioT provider in Florida, and I rank #2 in the nation. I'm so happy to have with me Dr. Eva Brown, a couples and intimacy specialist who guides couples worldwide with better communication and understanding. So, as I said earlier, we had met years ago, and we instantly bonded. She's not only one of the smartest chicks I know, but she has a delightful personality. You'll see that in a little bit when I let her talk. One of the things I noticed about Eva that I've seen with her practice over the years is, like I said earlier, that we're both very passionate about helping our patients, and we have mutual patients. So I keep hearing some really wonderful stories about the work that Eva does and helps my patients with their relationships and their lives. So, I'm just really proud to have you here with me tonight, Eva, and I think we're going to have a good talk. But first, let's go back to hormones for a minute, my favorite topic, and this will tie into your interview in just a minute. One of the most common questions I'm asked is, what are bioidentical hormones? And bioidentical hormones are derived from plants. Ours are based from wild yams, and they have this exact same molecular structure as what our bodies produce. So it's used in a kinder, gentler way than the synthetic hormones of the past, and helps you feel like you did maybe 10, 15 years ago. Hormones are chemicals that are produced by our glands that have hundreds of functions throughout the body, and since they're bioidentical and have the same structure, it fits perfectly into the receptor sites, metabolizing optimally to perform the functions our bodies need as we age. As we age, our hormone production decreases. Women can start losing their hormones in their late 20s, and men in their early 30s. And I see that clinically quite often. Despite efforts to discredit bioidentical hormones, the scientific research just keeps getting better and better, proving that not only the quality of life benefits, but the health benefits of maintaining and optimizing a hormonal balance. So that's enough of the science for tonight. But so let's get to the fun stuff. So why take bioidentical hormones? Because they allow your body to feel and function as it did maybe 10, 15 years ago. Restoring your youthful hormone balance is paramount to feeling youthful, sexy, fun, and energetic, and even looking your best. Some of the symptoms of decreased hormones include lack of energy, difficulty sleeping, lack of sexual desire, and poor sexual performance, loss of mental focus and memory, feeling moody, anxious, depressed. So, how do hormones affect your relationship? Well, people with balanced hormones have a better sense of well-being. And that's a hard thing to measure, but it's true. Increased levels of energy, increased interest in life, increased sexual drive, increased consistency in moods, relief from anxiety and depression, which can really put a damper on one's relationships,
Right.
and increased mental clarity and ability to focus, decreased body fat, and a greater capacity for getting into shape. So that really makes a good bit of sense if you think about it. If you're feeling down, tired, moody, and not feeling good about the way you look, you probably aren't being able to give your partner the real you, the happy, energetic, sexy one, the person that you were back when you met, that they were attracted to. So while our pellets can help you feel more like your old self, maybe you did, as you did maybe 10, 15 years ago, it increases your sexual thoughts and desires, increases sexual satisfaction, and makes you happier and nicer, and that's good for relationships. The pellet can't cure or fix all relationships. This is where my guest, Dr. Eva Brown, comes in. So if you have any questions for Dr. Brown or myself this evening, we'd love to hear from you. Please call in with your questions or comments to 1-888-565-1470. Eva, please give us a little background onto how and why you've devoted your life to helping couples live happier together.
Yeah, that's a really great question, and I have a short and a long answer. Which one do you want?
Well, I think we're kind of limited on time, but we may go back to it if we run out.
Okay, cool. So the short answer is that the first 10 years in my 20s, I did passion parties. And so I sold sensual products to women. And while I was taking their orders, they would tell me about their relationship, and they would tell me how they were unsatisfied or unhappy, not just sexually, but also emotionally in the relationship. And I felt very inadequate to be able to help them. So I actually decided to get my education because of that reason. I became so passionate in helping these women with sensual products that I said I wanted to do more than that. And so I did. I went on, I got my master's, my PhD, and my husband and I just joined ventures together, actually, which is a really big deal for us as a couple. And we opened a retreat center in sunny South Florida, 5 minutes from the beach, right next to your office.
Wonderful.
US 1 in Oakland. And we're opening up a group private practice there as well. So we're really excited and looking forward to the future.
Oh, that's exciting. So you have your own office there, your own practice.
Yeah,
so,
finally, yeah.
So let's see, if when a couple comes into you for the first time and they sit down in the chairs or the soft chairs I'm sure you have for them, what do you ask them? How do you start the conversation?
Well, I asked them first about what's going on in their relationship, what kind of challenges are they facing, and more importantly, I really try to get into their emotional triggers. What are the triggers that are coming up in their relationship? How are they fighting? And then I kind of go in and teach them how to master the communication and emotional intimacy part, because, we don't all know how to be in a romantic partnership, to manage emotional intimacy. I mean, I grew up in an Italian, Irish, and Jewish family system, and they didn't teach me how to be romantic, that's for sure. I had to have intimacy. And so what happens is couples get stuck in this right or wrong conversation, which I call political platform arguing, right? One says, you did it this way, the other one says they did it this way, right? And so what happens is the communication is not actually appropriate for an intimate or romantic conversation. It's great for medical, it's great for science, it's great for politics, but it's not good for romance and intimacy. So I teach an emotion-focused communication pattern, which actually helps keep couples learn how to communicate from a place of love and a place of intimacy, so they can make space in their relationship for the shadow sides, right? The insecurities, the not good enough, and all those things that we have, in all human beings. And then we also have our light sides, right? So how can we figure out how to move from what I call a masculine or feminine, tension in the relationship, right, to moving to more an integrated relationship where they can both integrate the masculine and feminine and really build
More
the
balanced,
polarity
in their
relationship through communication, and then of course intimacy.
So you're basically giving them tools to grow their relationship in a positive way instead of taking negative things and having it. When people say they grow apart, is it really just their communication skills are very different and need to be tweaked?
Yes. It doesn't matter if you have differences of opinion about things. It matters how you're making space for each other to learn and grow together, to learn how to communicate, to learn how to be in an intimate relationship, and also be intentional too. Like a lot of couples just get stuck in the survival mode. They just go in, they wake up in the morning, they brush their teeth, they go to work, and they get their kids, and they come home, and then they rinse and repeat the next day.
Right.
So if you want to be in a thriving relationship, you have to make time for growth. You have to make time for quality time, and you also have to be radically accountable for your own stuff. I would probably use another word for that. But, you have to be accountable for what you bring into the relationship and your own mirror projections. So that's just like the short answer to a very, very long conversation.
That's a lot of stuff right in that short answer.
Yeah.
Do the couples feel open? Do they talk openly with you and with their partner in front of you? They feel they're safe and they're...
Well, yeah. I mean, not all therapists, not all therapists are created equal, but I do a very good job of joining with couples and making them feel safe. It's my number one priority when they come into session with me. And I have had couples that have come in that I've worked with several other therapists before, and they haven't really found a way to join or feel comfortable. So they end up staying with me, which is nice. Of course, not all couples feel aligned with my work, and that's okay too. But we do have a 93% success rate collaboratively at the practice, and I don't say I have it because I work with my couples collaboratively to be able to create the results that they want in their relationship. But that's really 93% is actually really high.
That's
because
very good.
The divorce rate is 54%.
Right.
Still.
Right.
And so it's statistically it's really good. Yeah.
What therapies do you recommend? Any other therapies, or just talk therapy, learning new tools?
Yeah.
Or do you give them homework maybe?
Yeah, it's a good question. Recently in the practice, I started to get into body work and trauma work. So I've been really learning a lot about that. I have a couple of massage therapists that I work with that I refer my clients to that do deep integrative work within the body, because when you have trauma, it doesn't get stored in your mind only, it also gets stored in the body. Wow. And so they help move the energy. Our bodies are 0.0001% matter. And that matter, that 0.001% matter, is actually just condensed energy. So really, we're just walking energy. So we have the equivalent of a 60-watt light bulb. That's a human being. So you have to be able to move through the trauma in the body. And so I work with some massage therapists for that. I also have some sexual healers and trainers that I work with. One, Mia Kura from San Francisco, I just had her out, and she teaches the art of sensual restraint. I also have another practitioner that teaches tantric work to couples, which really focuses on their sexuality. And with all of it together, it's actually a really nice integration, because I have the research and the techniques and the strategies to be able to master the communication aspect of it. And then the emotional intimacy part is, of course, the most important.
That's super. Now, I saw on your website, and I guess it's the name of your website is Relationship Revolutionaries, right?
.com.
Tell me about that.
So we birthed that idea about a year ago, and I remember it very clearly. I had the download. I was on the cardio machine, and I said to my husband, because he was on the cardio machine next to me, and I said, I think relationship revolutionaries, that's what we have to do. We need to create a tribe, babe, so we can really, really make this movement, which is to move into what I call conscious partnership, awake partnership, rather than sleeping partnership or surviving partnership. So we wanted to create a community of couples that felt safe, that felt like they joined and belonged to something, and that they could change and grow and evolve over the course of their relationship. And not just going to one retreat or one session, but every single year getting some kind of maintenance and doing something fun with your partner that bonds the two of you closer.
Is that part of that Costa Rica thing you did?
Yeah. I do Costa Rica retreats. Yes, a lot of the couples love it because it's a great environment. There's so much nature there, and I find that a lot of the couples are able to integrate a lot of the things that are missing in their relationship really beautifully there. So we did our first one in Fort Lauderdale recently, so that worked out awesome.
Did it? Now,
Yeah.
no, when say we have a lot of listeners from throughout the United States. So if
Okay.
they were interested in doing that, they would come here. But you don't. It's not everybody staying at the same hotel. They can stay wherever they want and then
Yeah.
come to your center, right, during the day.
Right.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah, so recently we just did it at the Hilton in Fort Lauderdale, but from now on we're going to be doing it at the retreat center. So people can stay at an Airbnb, and of course we're 5 minutes from the beach, which is
Yeah.
really convenient. So if people want to stay on A1A and stay at
Yeah.
a nice hotel or something like that, they could, and take a 5-minute Uber over to our retreat
Right.
center and get the work done. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that is really interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I also saw boot camps. What is boot camps?
I know, we've got everything going on.
Her website's incredible. You have to go to it.
So the relationship boot camp is like, it's an intensive with me on the weekend. So if couples are having a lot of problems in their relationship, like a lot more intense, I would probably recommend doing a one-on-one with me.
Right.
And so that lasts Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We do a whole boot camp, and sometimes I do Saturday, Sunday, and I'm actually in the process of transforming that program. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to integrate body work and trauma work, integrated with the sexuality work, integrated with the communication work. So I have 2 other people that I'm going to be working with that we're going to basically create a boot camp for the individual couples. So it's going to be nice.
When you talk about the body work, it just reminds me that we do
Yeah.
a lot of work with patients that are first responders or returning war vets with PTSD.
Yeah, right.
And it sounds like that would be like really ideal for them to help.
Yeah, well, everybody has trauma. Everybody has trauma. It doesn't have to be sexual trauma. It doesn't have to be sexual abuse only. It can be emotional abuse. It could just be a toxic relationship that you were in. It could also be from your family system when you were growing up. It could also just be as simple as not feeling heard, not
Right.
feeling understood in your family system, feeling invalidated emotionally. These are small little traumas that actually add up over the course of life. And I find that a lot of couples need guidance with that. I mean, I did. I mean, if I didn't go and get the education and
Learn
figure
it,
out how to do it,
yeah.
my husband and I would probably be killing each other right now. I mean, that's the truth,
Instead, you're working together.
And we're working together.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
Or
It can be. It can
could
be, but it's not for us. That's the
Yes.
funny thing,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth, too.
Yeah. Because you have the tools and
Yeah,
the
we
knowledge
know how to
on
communicate.
How to communicate.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Very good. Well, I just have to share with you all that recently I saw a patient of mine. I've seen her. She's been a patient of mine for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And the last time I had seen her was maybe 6 months ago. I'm not sure which. And when I'd seen her, like the time before that, she was in with her husband, and he's a dashing husband, and kind of like a little power couple, and they were really doing great. And then the next time I saw her, she told me she was moving out, she was filing for a divorce, and blah, blah, blah. It was horrible and the whole thing, and it just didn't fit together. Then I just recently saw her, and she's like, oh my God, I went to Dr. Eva.
Really?
And
That's
we're
so
back
nice.
together, and they're planning a family. They're trying to get pregnant,
Yeah.
and they're happy. They've learned how to communicate.
Yeah.
And she said that you gave her what she needed as far as I don't know if she basically said something like she had to quit living like her bags were packed by the door, like she was
Right.
in the relationship and the grass wasn't greener on the outside, and that you really
Exactly.
helped her see where she was. And
Yeah.
so I thank you for that, because
Yeah.
she's a little treasure to me.
She's
so.
super sweet. I know who you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, yeah.
It's funny. A lot of women have trouble really surrendering, and giving 100% of themselves,
Yeah.
not just in the bedroom, but just in relationship emotionally. We've been scared to really fully allow ourselves to be received by our partners. And so
Right.
I find that work is very essential, which is why I do the tantric work, because it teaches people how to open up in their bodies and learn how to surrender physically, not just in the mind.
What is tantric?
Tantric is, different positions and stuff, but you can use it as a way to allow the man, for example. So at the retreat recently, I had a couple, really amazing couple that did such really good work, but he has a hard time letting her hold space for him. He has a hard time receiving her care and her love, because he's like, he wants to keep it in control, and he's got the money, and he's got the family, and he's got the kids, and everything's good. And it's hard for him to feel safe in a woman's presence, right? So a lot of that has to do with trauma from mom, dad, things like that early on in life. And then the lady had a little bit of a hard time figuring out, like, why isn't my partner receiving my love? Why do I feel like there's a wall there? Why do I feel like there's a defense that's there? And so I talk a lot about this light and the shadow side. And, you know, a lot of people think, oh, it's spiritual gaga stuff. But it's really just a way to say that we have a dark side to ourselves and we have a light side. And a lot of times I find that couples fight their dark side. You know, I don't want to be insecure. I don't want this. I don't want that. And the more you do that, the more you actually create a relationship with it. It's kind of like when you're on a diet and you're like, I don't want to eat ice cream. I can't eat ice cream. I can't eat ice cream. And then what do? You eat the ice cream. You eat the ice cream. You want to eat the ice cream. So it's the same thing. And that's actually how depression and anxiety are actually exacerbated as well, right? So if you say to yourself when you're depressed, oh, I don't want to be depressed anymore. I don't want to have anxiety. And the more you resist against it, the more you have a relationship with it. So, you know, it was interesting. And, you know, as you referenced the couple, it's learning how to feel and allow yourself to be safe and not have your bags packed at the door already.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's really good work. That's really good work. Yeah. And do you deal with people that, I'm sure you have all kinds of different backgrounds of people that come, but substance abuse, people with substance abuse, you know, recovery, a lot of times I think have difficulty with relationships.
They do. Not unlike anyone else, though. I really believe that there's not one couple that has walked in my door in the past 10 years that are different than any of the other couples that have walked in my doors.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're all the same. We all have our crap.
Right.
And we have to figure out how to manage it.
Right.
Successfully.
Right.
In a relationship. And it's not about perfection. I just want to be clear. It's not about perfection. You're going to have fights. You're going to get triggered. But it's how you repair the argument. It's how you sit down and have a conversation, but not get caught in the content of right or wrong and talk about just what did you feel? Right. You know, I felt disappointed or sad or whatever, and then make a request for what you want moving forward. Okay. What I teach is simple, but it's hard when you're triggered. Yeah. It's hard when you're upset.
Right.
So it takes practice.
So it's giving tools. And now people coming to your retreats, coming from all over, have you met them before? Do you do Skype or anything before that?
Some are my clients. Some are my clients and some are not. And before I have anyone come out to my retreat, I always do a 20-minute Skype call with them.
There you go. Okay. So you know who's coming and the whole thing.
Yeah, because I like, when I do the retreats, I like to create a very sacred container for everyone to feel safe, to be able to talk openly if they have a question. Because in a lot of trainings, when you walk in, everyone's kind of hiding in the corners, you know? And so if you don't go in with the intention of creating a space for people to have a transformation, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So you have to know what's going on in the relationship beforehand, and then I craft the entire program around who's coming to the retreat.
Wow.
So if I have couples that are, you know, living in a happy, integrated relationship and they're just coming for fun, I do a different program.
Right.
If I have couples that are having problems or infidelity or trust issues or trigger issues, it's an entirely different program.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now, how many couples usually go to your retreats? How many do you host at a time?
It depends. It depends on where we're going to be hosting. But at the retreat center, we're going to have room for 15 couples.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be about 30 of us. We have about usually 10 to 12 people that actually book out beforehand. And if we do retreats in Costa Rica, it just depends on what house we stay at, what resort we stay at. So sometimes that can go to 15 to 20 couples.
That's really great. You're doing good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I like how I get my patients with the pellets. We know that the hormones actually, you know, can trigger sexual thoughts and sexual satisfaction.
Yeah.
But having the good relationship, I think, is paramount. You know, that you can get both of those together, because kind of like the communication things, we can't fix one of the couple and not the other.
Exactly.
You know, I always say that we talk about balancing hormones, and it's not just balancing hormones in our own body, but balancing the hormones between the couples. And so you have the same thing of getting everybody tuned in with the same communication skills. And with the same desire. You have to figure out if they're really in it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I've been sending people to you for many, many years. I love the work that you do.
Yeah.
You know, and when you were talking about low T and things like that, it's interesting because I've had a personal experience with that with my husband. He had, was in a 22-hour restaurant business per day. It was a full-time business for a long, long time, about 7 years, and he had hormone, problems when he was done because he was not sleeping.
Yes.
And he's up till 5 o'clock in the morning. So. one of those things. It took a toll on the
Sure.
relationship too, because there was
Absolutely.
some depression and some
Yeah.
anxiety there, and then once they got him dialed in, it was like a new man.
Yeah, see, that's one of the saddest things I see is I've had several patients crying in my office, both
know.
male and female,
I know, it's
saying if
terrible.
I had only had my hormones optimized years ago,
Yeah.
I would still be married,
I
and I
know.
let a very good person go.
Exactly.
And so it's like we got to balance this out.
Yeah.
The communication, the
Yeah.
hormones, it all works well together.
Yeah.
So
You're giving me chills right now. It's true. And it's so nice. I love what you do. I think it's so integral.
I love what you do.
Yeah.
A little love fest.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you
Yeah,
so much
thank you
for
for having
joining me
me.
tonight, and we'll have to do this again.
That sounds
And
good.
we talked about doing one with your husband, doing
That
an
sounds
interview
good.
together.
He's fun. Yeah.
I'm sure he is if he's hanging out with you. But if you'd like to learn more about Dr. Eva Brown's couples therapeutic programs, you can go to her website, relationshiprevolutionaries.com, or call her office at 754-245-1424.
That's right.
So we got to keep everybody balanced out. So, well, I've learned a lot tonight. Thank
yeah.
you. And I thank everybody for listening. I hope that the
Yeah.
show has inspired you to feel your best and grow your relationships to the next level.
Yeah.
If you'd like to know more about hormone optimization, you can come to my office, Low TE, Florida. We're across from Holy Cross Hospital. The phone number is 954-791-4498, or simply go to Low TE Florida with Florida spelled out.com. Thanks so much, and I will see you next week, and thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. It's my mission to help men and women live their best lives, and I hope that today's show gave you just a little motivation to do so. If you'd like to learn more about bioidentical hormones and if they're right for you,